Hi, I'm Cordelia Storm and I'm with Parkour Visions, and today I'm going to teach you how to do macacos. So step one to the macaco is you're going to start in a squat facing forwards. You're going to put one hand behind you and then you're going to jump from both feet all the way over. So the key here is to actually make sure that you're jumping from both feet and you're not doing a cartwheel. So the wrong way to do it looks like this. Right now, it doesn't matter how high your feet go, you just want to make sure that you are jumping with 2 feet and landing on 2 feet. Step 2, you're going to keep practicing jumping with both feet, and you're going to try to get your feet a little bit higher of an arch every single time. So getting your feet, if they were at first almost entirely on the side of your body as you're jumping over, next you're going to try to get them just a little higher as you go over. Okay, so now let's talk about our hands. So your first hand is gonna make a nice big arch up above next to your ear, and then it's gonna plant down behind you. And when it plants, it's actually gonna need to be as backwards as possible. The more backwards that hand is when you place it behind you, the easier it's gonna be to rotate around the hand. Hand number one is gonna come up and over and behind you. The second hand is gonna go up. You're gonna look at it and that's gonna help your hips drive up. So the purpose of your first hand is to help plant you and give you stability for that handstand type position. The second hand is what drives you up into that nice arch that gets you into the off-axis back handspring. So here's a drill to work on that second hand placement. One key tip for this is to make sure you're looking at that second hand. So next thing, try to put those two drills together where you're putting down your first hand, you're jumping off 2 feet, and then you're watching that second hand come up and over. Okay, so that part right there took me probably about like 2 months to get where my hips would actually go up over and not just over to the side. So do know sometimes it does take a little while for you to actually be able to watch your second hand as it's going up and knowing where it is in the air, because you're thinking about 5 things at once. So that is something to just be aware of. It does take a little bit of practice from those steps. So now I want to talk about one more thing, which is the secret tool to get macacos. Because the hardest thing that I found, there's this weird position where you really have to open your hips up in the macaco, and I had to learn how to jump explosively in that open hip position. So this movement is called a baby maker because it includes humping, and what you're going to do is you're going to start sitting on your shins with your toes flat, flat pointed, and you're going to try to jump up onto your feet. So practicing those baby makers and your off-axis macacos, where you're still going over the side a little bit, are like 2 magic ingredients. Just do those at the same time, just back and forth, and eventually they'll start to sew together in your brain that you actually need to hump while you are doing your macaco. All right, I have one last secret ingredient for the macaco, which is you're gonna start on the balls of your feet as you're rocking backwards to your heels. That's the timing for when your first hand comes down on the ground. So your heels and your hand should come down at the same time, and that's gonna create a reactive power for you to get a little bit more oomph into your macaco. So I'll show you the difference with it and without it. So as you can see, if I actually start flat-footed on my heels, it's pretty much impossible to actually get my hips up and get a good jump there. So I want to be starting on the balls of my feet and rocking back and timing that with that hand placement. Heels and hand comes down at the same time and I'm jumping up as this other hand comes up. The last bit, I know this is a lot of things to think about with macacos, but hopefully this is going to be a practice over multiple months, and you can use this tool to come back to check where you're at with your progressions. But the last thing is, once your hips are starting to go up overhead, try to watch that second hand and try to put it down a little bit further back behind you. So with that second hand, if you wait just like a smidge longer to place it down on the ground, it's going to get you a little bit more vertical and into a bit more of a handstand in your macaco, as opposed to an off-axis handstand. So that's what I got, and happy training.